So it was time once again for the annual Herald Hunt. This is the 35th year they've done it. It's an amazing event put on by the Miami Herald. The first thing is you get this little booklet that comes inside your Sunday paper. And it gives you some opening questions, some information about how the hunt works. There's some advertisements in here. And they tell you about kind of what to expect. And what you're going to see is that there's going to be 5 puzzles you need to solve. And every answer needs to be a number. And then you have a map in there. And the map directs you to where you should find these puzzles, and then each of these is a potential answer among those 5. Once you've solved the 5, you'll have some clues in there. They'll give you a 6th question, and then you'll be able to solve the final puzzle. There's another couple of pages of ads in here, and then now we move on to actually doing the hunt. And here's Dave Berry to get us started.
So is everybody ready for the opening map coordinates? They are 13, 13, 15, 11, 19. The opening coordinates, there's only 5 letter coordinates for the opening question. 13, 15, 11, 19. We will see you back here at 3 o'clock. Keep checking Herald Hunt at Herald Hunt on Twitter.
So the numbers and letters that he mentioned correspond to the map coordinates. So you've got the numbers down the side, the letters across the bottom, and it's directing you to a location that you should look at. And those become important as you're working through the puzzle because they tell you where to go and where the puzzles might happen. In this case, the puzzles were all nearby, so they weren't hard to find, but generally speaking, you need to find them.
Like Tetris pieces, you know, that sort of thing, where there's a square, there's an open bracket.
PlayStation.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. There must be some other clue around here that helps you out. Must be some other pieces of the puzzle that we're going to see here in a minute.
Now, interestingly, this was the hardest puzzle for us to solve. We spent more than an hour of the 3 hours of allotted time trying to figure out what in the heck this actual thing was. It seemed very cryptic and like there should be some sort of a clue somewhere. So we spent a lot of time walking around looking for clues, trying to figure out what that was, what these symbols meant. And it didn't occur to us until much later that on the map there was something similar. And all you had to do was put these 2 symbols together and you could come up with an equation that then you could solve. So it's 5 times 74 times 9 will give you the number you're looking for. I don't know why it took us so long to figure out, but for some reason it did. But we did figure it out eventually. And as you put it in the calculator, 5 times 74 times 9 is 3,330. So that's the answer you were looking for. Have you heard? The word is out. I don't know what that means yet, but we'll figure it out as the hunt goes on.
Yeah, this is on the corner. Pat. P-A-T. And then G-N-E.
That has no name on it.
Okay, I'll do that.
Now, I don't know why, but when I looked at the actual clue they gave us, the plus signs to me seemed like if they were replaced with zeros, we could easily get a phone number. And it turns out that the plus on the phone on a contemporary piece of equipment is a 0. So if you dial that number, 305-376-2044, you get a recording that says that you're standing in front of GHI. Now, what does that mean? I think that's where you need to start thinking about this as a phone dial. And if you look, there were 10 circles on the ground and a little thing, and that would look like a rotary phone dial. So GHI is number 4, and what was over at number 4? Well, if we look back at our actual description of what it looked like, I actually drew a little quick map here to kind of help myself a little bit. I drew the 10 circles and the little piece at the bottom, and that's when I realized it was a rotary dial. And Brad, the person's name was standing on number 4. So it occurred to me that if we took the letters for Brad and typed them into the phone, we could actually get the number we're looking for. So just by looking at the rotary dial here, we see that the B is 2, R is 7, A is 2, and D is 3. So we could just take the number 2723, and the answer is the pass is thrown. Again, don't know what that means, what the context is here, but we'll figure it out as we go through the hunt.
Okay, the ability to play well together.
I don't know.
There's 9 words, okay.
Means to everyone, even 8 won't get it done. It's not been sentence, so you know,
Okay. We gotta figure out what the...
Raw 3 of
Imagine.
first minute with of frisbee
A. You got T.O.
So each one of these Frisbees had a word on it, and there were many Frisbees out on the field. All you had to do was walk around and look for the 9 different words that were there, and then assemble them into a sentence. So when we collected all the 9 words, what we found was that the words were write the 3 of Frisbees with an S, A, imagine, 2, 1. And as we worked through it and teased it out, what we figured out was if we put it together in a sentence that says, imagine 3 Frisbees to the right of a 1, we realized that that has to be 1, 0, 0, 0, which would be 1,000. So the clue is find the man with the apparel we've described. Hand him a slip of paper with your name, cell number, and password. Okay, so that's going to come into play when we get to the end game.
One, two, ready, hit!
So this was a fun little middle school marching band that was out there helping out. And yeah, the song is Smoke on the Water, and I don't want to run afoul of any copyright laws on this video, so I'm just going to play that couple of seconds that are there. So the song goes on, and what you start to realize as you're looking at them is that they're standing in an X formation. They form an X. So it's kind of obvious that they're in that formation because this would be a non-traditional formation for a band to stand in while they're standing there. So it's Smoke on the Water. What could that mean? We went back through the Hunt guide, and we found out that there was some books that they were selling, and one of them showed a picture of Smoke on the Water, the Deepwater Horizon disaster. If you go to the URL that's listed there, so take out your phone and hop up to the URL, you find that there's a picture, a Google Maps picture, with 2 numbers on it, a 7 and a 13. And if you look down, that's exactly the spot where they were standing, the band was standing. So the X would go right between the 7 and the 13, so it's 7 times 13 to get to the number you're looking for. So in this case, we get to 91, and it says, read it like this, and the this is upside down. So that must be something we have to do later in the hunt.
And now, our final tune. The battle of all battles. The Knights versus the Pirates. Petty, the music please. Guys, here comes the number 15 battle. The David and Goliath. Who will be our winner? Stop! Oh! And our winner today, if you can please step up, is our Pirates! Everybody give it up for our Pirates! Yes! Do you have anything to say?
In the Hunt Guide, there was this rental kingdom, and look at that, there's a pizza pie for $2.95. So if we use the $2.95, we can see the first part is HRLD. That was the name of the URL we used before when we looked up the Deepwater Horizon book. So probably we're going to have to look up a URL, though I really don't know what or why, but we'll find that out in a little bit.
Solve all the 5 puzzles. You have everything you need to solve the hunt, except the holiest number. And I will repeat that one more time. If you solve the 5 puzzles, you have everything you need to solve the hunt.
So the clue Tom gave us was that you need the holiest number. That would be the most 8s in a number. And there was an 8888 in the answers. So that would make sense as the final answer. Now, someone solved this puzzle within 5 minutes before we even really got started and figured it out. So unfortunately, we weren't able to finish the puzzle, but I'll take you through it anyway. The clue is telling you to go look for the sub, and that's the one on the Hunt map that was down where the barge was, where you had half of the equation that we took time solving. And if you walk back down that way, you'll see that the barge is still out there, but now it's got the number 48 on it. 48 doesn't necessarily make sense. It doesn't give you anything until you consider the other clues that we've already got. This is where you put together some of the pieces you already had. If we go back and look at the other clues, the number 91 was, read it like this, as in upside down. So that would be 8H. So if we go back and look at the map, position 8H would take us over to this sculpture. There was someone out there handing out something, and it was the remainder of a URL. So if you went to that URL, it was hrld.us/ whatever it was, and you would go out and look for, you would get a picture. And the picture was of the Eve Miami Hotel. And what they had done is something like this, where they wrote the letters NAV at the beginning and ST at the end. So what they wrote out was Navy vest. So Navy vest, what could that mean? We're looking for somebody in a Navy vest, perhaps? And that's what it turned out to be. So as we went and looked at the other clues that were there, it says, find the man in the apparel we've described. Hand him a slip of paper with your name, cell number, and password, but password is hyphenated. So if we look at the other clues we have, the pass is thrown. Pass, thrown. So if we take password as thrown out, so we put our name, our phone number, and the words thrown out on a piece of paper and hand it to the man in the Navy vest who happened to be over by the boat here, we would win the prize. Now, unfortunately, we didn't win, but that's okay. It was really pretty awesome. As we walked up, we saw the guy there. We saw the people who won. Congratulations to them. It was a really fun event, a nice hunt. It was a really good time. I think it was really worthwhile. I will definitely do it again if they have it again next year or in a future year. Dave and Tom and the Miami Herald, thank you very much for another entertaining day. It's frustrating, it's vexing, but it's so weirdly wonderful and such a great time.